Are you guys out of your mind? Why is education system in China so relentless? How do kids that small carry a weight that's crushing? Hi, I'm Shirley. I don't just share travel routes. I show you the real China. I really want to share something with you guys about education here in China because I am experiencing it firsthand right now. As a tour guide in China, hands down, these are actually number one questions foreigners throw at me. Honestly, I give it to them straight because I am living it right now. So let's break down the big picture national strategy and the brutal reality behind it. But first, let me paint you like a picture of what first grade looks like for my 7-year-old daughter, Sarah. Um, in this video, it's 9:30 p.m. I'm picking her up from her after-school program, and 9:30 p.m. is an early night only because she finished her extra math sheet yesterday. And by the time we got home, she still has to do her daily reading in Chinese and English. Lights out, pushing 11 p.m. So from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., she puts in a solid 14 hours a day, and she's just one in the sea of millions of kids on this exactly same treadmill. She's only 7. Okay. Her school even canceled nap time so they could actually cram test prep session right through lunch. When school lets out at like 5:30 p.m., she goes straight to an after-school facility. So these spots are near every residential community in China. They cost about 800 to 1500 RMB a month, roughly 150 to 250 US dollar. Sarah program includes dinner for 800 RMB in a month total. Teachers here are responsible for both preparing meals, tutoring, or helping with homework. This is her meal right here. Super simple, costs about 10 RMB, like $1.50. She inhales it in 5 minutes and goes straight to homework. And actually, schoolwork takes about an hour, and the rest, a massive stack of extra work. Double digital manual math, introductory, math Olympia problems, Chinese spelling, English reading. You feel like you can't opt out. Saturdays are actually total wash, filled with review and prepping for next week. Our only breathing room is like Sunday morning. I don't take her to a nice restaurant for a big meal. It's probably the highlight of her week, which can be her happiest and most relaxed. And by Sunday afternoon, she's back to art class and night reading again. I interviewed her for this video. Looking at her frazzled here, she looked completely burnt out. She looked at me and said, "Mom, I'm so tired. I feel like I'm gonna lose my mind. It's like nonstop." I asked her what the point was. She said, "How do I somehow build a foundation for my future?" And I know that line was taught to her by her teacher. As a 7-year-old, she got no idea what this really means. Then she finally spoke her mind. "Mom, I don't get why I have to grind for over 10 hours a day." I asked if everyone in our class does this, and she was like, "Yeah, almost everyone." So here's the reality. Parents are still submitting homework in group chats that has the teachers in it 9 p.m., 10 p.m. Kids are still reading English aloud late at night. You know what? This whole thing really got me thinking about the education system here in China. I like to share some of my thoughts with you guys here. So why is it like this? It wasn't an accident. It was like a calculated strategic choice made by a country with a massive population, limited resources, and zero time to waste. First, when China started catch up with the world, we were poor, we were decades behind. To move fast, the school system became like a giant factory line. It wasn't built to make artsy or thinkers, it was built to pump out millions super efficient tech workers. Kids who are amazing at math and science, who know how to get a job done perfectly without making mistakes. That exactly mindset is how China built all the roads, bridges, and factories so fast. And second, it keeps things fair. In a country with 1.4 billion people, the gap between rich city and poor villages is crazy. So how do you pick who gets the best job fairly? Who gets the better school fairly? If a school look at the things like personality, cool hobbies, or fancy interviews, rich family will win every single time. The big college exam, The Gaokao, think of it as a SAT in the US. Stop that. It doesn't care about your money. It only cares about the one thing anyone can give, your time and your hard work. So look at my ex-husband. Yeah, he's my ex-husband now. He grew up in a tiny, dirt-poor Chongqing village. At school, he had no beds, just desks put together to sleep on. Lunch was steamed rice with pickled wheat, never any meat. But he grinded daily from 7 a.m. to midnight, aced an exam, and got into a top architecture college in Chongqing. His first year out, he made about like 30,000 US dollar, way ahead of anyone our age. Just a few years later, he was earning 7 figures, completely breaking his family's cycle of poverty. And you know, during China's crazy internet boom over the last decade or two, there was this real window of opportunity. Lots of kids from rural village, poor family, they studied hard in science, learned to code, got into computer, and when they graduated, bam, they landed solid jobs, good salaries, just like that. They flipped their whole life script. That was their ticket. The golden ticket is handed to them by the timing, by the era itself. And you know how China runs the machine? We have actually simple playbook to keep costs low and make sure schools build exactly what the country needs. Here's how that works. You know, the first 9 years of school here in China are mandatory and completely free. Textbooks are exactly the same everywhere. Since everything's about that one big exam, so it forces every kid to focus heavily on science, tech, instead of art or random hobbies. And public high school and colleges get tons of government money. College institution is like super low, usually $700 to $1,100 a year. They want hard work and family money to decide your future. And the government acts like a traffic cop for talent. They pour money into majors the country needs. And finally, our government uses crazy peer pressure. Local bosses and school principals are judged only by one thing: how many of their kids get into good colleges. It creates a absolutely pressure cooker, but keep every single school laser focused on high test scores. Now, if you compare this to West, places like US or UK, the picture is totally different. On the surface, it look easy. In a public school, let kids out by 3 p.m. with little to no homework, but that happy education is not paradise. It's more like a basic social safety net designed for ordinary job. I think the real risk is hidden. It happens in expensive private school in the West, where wealthy family use serious money to buy what really matters. You know, the elite network, Ivy League prep, polo, rowing, research internships. I think this kind of advantages that keep their kids on top. But in China, we push poor kids up through raw effort. In the West, the money quietly keep the wealthy where they are. So why the 3 p.m. dismissal? A personal perspective? I think West sits at the top of the global economy food chain. They don't need an army of engineers. They already have countries like China producing them. What they need is actually top 1% of geniuses like the next Elon Musk or Steve Jobs to invent a brand new industries. You can't force that 0 to 1 creativity with 40 hours of rote learning. You need a free time to mess up, to think, or to explore without any pressures. And second, this is the key. The West doesn't have to educate everyone from scratch. They attract the world's best mind through immigration. A huge number of engineers, scientists, innovators come from elsewhere, ready to contribute on day one. So the system doesn't have to grind every local kid into a top performer. It can afford to let many just be, while importing ready-made talent for the top tier. It's a completely different game. One system uses effort to push an entire generation upward, and other uses money and global draw to keep innovation flowing, while letting everyday life stay relatively pressure-free. But now, times have changed. So with the AI era, will this kind of education in China even work anymore? I think the old playbook is hitting a wall. The game has changed completely. First for 40 years, we followed blueprints. But in AI and chips, there are no blueprints left. We the people who ask quiz questions and a 40 hours cram session kill any imagination. And if AI knows everything instantly, why memorize? Real value now is in what makes us human: emotional depth, hands on wisdom, handling life areas. And now it's like a movie theater trap. Front row stands up, so everyone does. Nobody sees better, but everyone's very, very exhausted, right? Um, Take my mom's friend's son. Grinded for a computer science degree, and now you know what? He's wiping table at a coffee shop. Why? Because a $5 a month AI codes better for free. This is not bad luck. It's a system hitting a wall. The moment you graduate, success is no longer about your test scores. Or look at my ex-husband now. A few years back, China real estate policy did a U-turn. Overnight, his skill of perfectly following blueprints was obsolete. He tried to pivot, but he didn't know AI-assisted design, the new green building standard, or the latest project management software. Because of his golden decade, he never felt the need to learn. The tide went out, and he was left stranded. He's almost 40 years old. Resumes go nowhere. The industry wants young people who know BIM and smart city. Experience the same as the old school. A test can lift you out of poverty, but it can't stop you, from falling halfway up. In an age where AI reshape everything and industries change overnight, I think the real job security is not a position. It's your ability to keep learning and evolving. My ex lived the whole cycle of 20 years, from poverty, test success, industry boom, getting stuck in his way, getting left behind by the tide. But China is actually definitely waking up to this, and the shift is happening on two massive fronts. On the hardware side, we are actually building the world's largest AI education system. In 2017, China became the first country to put AI in all K-12 schools. By 2022, it was required subject. Every student from first grade up now learns it. Billions have been spent on a smart classroom, and in places like Guangzhou and Zhejiang, nearly every school has an AI lab. On the software side, thousands of pilot programs are changing how we teach. For example, in Shenzhen, over 300 schools use AI to analyze classical poetry, so kids discuss where a poem works, not just memorize it. In Zhejiang, more than 1,200 AI experimental schools have moved from real learning to real-world project, like using AI to model traffic or pollution. So yes, the shift is real, but it's also a huge lift. Retraining millions of teachers, shifting old mindset, and redefining what success means. All while the old exam system still looms large. But the train has left the station. China is not just adapting to the AI age. I think it's trying to out-educate it. So here's a real question for us parents in China. How do we get our kids out of this pointless 14 hours a day race? In this AI revolution, how do we raise them actually right away? Use AI, not just memorize for it, and become the kind of thinker who build what comes next. AI has limits, of course. AI is always AI, not human. And what AI cannot do is precisely where we can make it work for us. It can't ask a truly original question, right? Define a messy real-world problem, or make a nuanced judgment based on human emotion and values. It can't have a hands-on experience, feel love or pain, or chase meaningful beyond utility, persevere on faith alone, or build unconditional trust. Therefore, I think the future of education is essentially an education in what makes us human. It's not about becoming as precise and efficient as a machine. It's about becoming a more complete, insightful, and warm and a creative person. Last Thursday, my daughter was spread out on the living room floor and crayons everywhere, getting ready a poster for her school Children's Day charity fair. But she was stuck. She was like, "Mom, I don't know what to draw," she said, chewing her pencil. Then it hit me. I was like, hey, want to try an AI painting app? You tell it whatever you want and it draw for you. And her eyes got wide and I opened the app and she started describing her idea. She was like, it needs a lot of cute dolls, balloons, and the words should be, don't just work guys, small dolls 5 RMB, big dolls 10 RMB, stuff like that. Then she clicked to generate. 10 seconds later, several bright, perfectly composed poster sketches popped up. She was thrilled. Picked her favorite and had AI check the details. Just so the whole thing took under a minute. And she was like, it's amazing. She clapped her hands and laughed. And then laughter faded, replaced by a even confused look. And she was like, Mom, if AI can make such a good painting in 1 minute, then what's the point of me learning to draw? Will I even find a job later? Something like that. I asked her, do you know why 5 yuan for small dolls? She was like, yeah, because many kids only have 5 RMB a day, she said. Stuff like that. And I continue, how did the AI make your poster? And she was like, because I told it my idea. Exactly, I said. You are actually human. You understand real life. AI is just a brush. We learn art so we can direct the AI better to express feelings, solve problems, create meanings. That's what AI cannot do. And Sarah used to ask why about everything. I'd get so tired of it. And finally, I said, ask the AI. It knows everything. I give her actually 30 minutes a day to chat with it. Suddenly, why is the sky blue? Got an instant and patient answer. I saw the spark in her eyes again. Pure curiosity, more powerful than any homework. So I think knowledge is free, but asking a good question, that's priceless. So I actually did something radical. I pulled her from the 9:30 p.m. after school program. Now she's just does basic homework. The rest of the day is hers. And our new routine here. Schoolwork only, no extra drill. She got her favorite 30 minutes chatting with AI time every day. Free time to draw, read, or just stare at the ceiling, because I believe creativity comes from doing nothing. I don't know how this ends, but if we're not just training test taker, I think the whole game changes, right? I'm betting on this. In the AI age, a curious, creative kid will go further and be happier than one who's just good at filling an answer sheet. This is my backyard experiment, right inside China pressure cooker. So let's see what grows. I don't know. And at last, here's my 2 cents for other parents, from one mom trying to figure this out to another. First, feed their curiosity like it's oxygen. Seriously, when you can't ask a question, any question, don't just, shush them. Don't say it later. If you don't know the answer, just say, let's ask the AI together. And make curiosity the quickest path to a reward. Because in age of AI, the kid who keeps asking why actually won't just survive. They will lead. Second, pull them into the real world and make it fun. Get their hands dirty. For example, grow a plant, cook a messy meal, walk in the rain. If real life feels more interesting than a screen, you've actually won half of the battle. Happiness is not a distraction from learning. I think it's like fuel, right? And third, think beyond the test block. Teach them something their classmates don't know. Not to show off, but to show them that I see the world differently. Maybe it's how clouds form, how the small business runs, why bees matter. Let them be the one who share that cool fact in class. That pride, that's the kind of confidence no exam can give. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me to the end of this long video. Look, as a mom living here in China, I'm just sharing my own personal slice of reality. It might not be the whole picture, but I promise you, it is 100% honest truth. So with this whole AI era rushing in, honestly, I'm just as anxious as anyone else trying to navigate it. If you're having the same late night thoughts or questions about our kids' future, please drop a comment below. I really want to hear from you guys and have that conversation. I'll be sharing more raw and unfiltered story from our perspective in this series. So if you want to see the real China beyond the travel shores, please hit that subscribe button. And of course, if you found any value in this video, dropping a like would mean the absolutely world to me. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.